Hello, Rachel. Hello, Rachel.
Hello. Can I talk to you and not the camera?
Yeah, talk to me and not the camera, and I'll start here. Okay, so this is a quick interview just to go through like how you got to be what you're doing and stuff, and to help students and people who want to get into the industry and so on a little bit. So first of all, could you briefly state your business and what you do for a living?
I am a prosthetics makeup artist, so I mostly do the application end of prosthetics, so applying.
Sticking things on people.
Yeah, I glue things to people's
You
faces. Paint them, cover them in blood.
Make them old. And
No, I don't tend to do the mold making side. So
No.
my area is more art finishing and application. So I don't sculpt, mold, or like silicone or foam run anymore. I can, but
That's
you
not
kind of
what
need to
you're
specialize.
specialising in.
But sorry.
Okay.
I'm much, more into the tail end of the process.
Okay. So initially, did you have an art background, an art education sort of thing, and if so, what did you study and where?
I actually dropped art in high school when I was about 14 and haven't really done much art since. So I don't really have an art background. I studied prosthetics straight out of high school, kind of realized I wanted to do something really creative, but wasn't quite sure, and then decided to go into, I originally thought I'd do fashion makeup, and then I realized that I'm not very good at fashion makeup and I don't really like the fashion industry. I'm a bit too low maintenance for being in fashion. And I have since gone and done 2 terms at art school and a couple of art classes, just because it is very useful for like color knowledge and general art knowledge.
But you did a media makeup course in Australia, didn't
Yeah,
you?
so I studied doing prosthetics and straight makeup 2.5 years in Sydney.
Okay.
So that was my study.
What was the place called that you were at?
Art and Technology and Makeup College, Sydney, so 3 Arts is what it's called. I don't think they're running courses anymore.
Okay. And the other ones in Sydney, it's quite well known.
Yeah, Acme's, they're really good as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
a
you didn't
lot
go
of...
there.
No, I didn't in the end. A lot of my friends did though, and have said lovely things about it, and most of the people I work with on jobs.
So do you think your education prepared you for the industry?
Yes, definitely. I mean, there's no course that will ever teach you everything, but it gives you enough of a taster for each different area of each different kind of area of the industry that you can kind of try bits of it without getting invested in.
Sort of find your strengths.
Yeah, so finding your strengths. So when I was at college was when I realized, sculpting, mold making, foam and silicone running, it's not necessarily what I enjoy doing as much.
No.
I'm definitely not a very strong mold maker. It confuses my brain.
Sure.
So it's like I kind of could learn how to do it, so if I need to do my own project, I can do it, but it's not my strength, so and I don't enjoy it as much as I enjoy doing kind of the art finishing, painting, and application side. So it's great because it gives you a taster of everything, and then you can decide to specialize. And it also, one of probably the best things about college was the people that you meet, seriously, because I still work with at least 3 of the girls that I went to college with. We were all on Hobbit. There's 4 of us on Hobbit together from the same class. And you can call them up and go, I've got a makeup, but I'm a bit not sure about how I'm going to go about it. And kind of bounce ideas off each other, and they can go, okay, well, I've got, you know, I've done something similar and we did this, so maybe
sort of share techniques.
share techniques
ideas
and you know, if you're ever unable to do a job, you can pass on a job that
that's
you
handy as well. Isn't
yeah,
it? Just
you can
get
kind of
work.
create your own little network. Like back in Sydney,
Yeah.
there was about 5 of us that if one of us couldn't do a job, we'd pass it on to someone else, and then you know that the person that you're recommending is going to be good enough
for the job.
that they're not going to be a bad reflection on you, because you don't want to recommend someone bad because then it reflects badly on you. But you also know that you're not then totally losing that contact, because
They'll
your
get in
friend-
touch with you
yeah.
again because they might put someone else.
And then you know, if you're running your own jobs as like some of the smaller, like the kind of bigger small films, if you're heading a department, you can go, okay, well, I've got a crowd day, I'm going to bring in, I need 5 other artists. Like I know 5 artists that I know their work very well, and I know them very well, and I know that we all work together very well, so it's a no-brainer as to,
Sure,
know.
yeah.
and yeah, it's just really, really good. And having guest teachers come in, I remember at college was probably the best thing, just getting different people's perspectives and how.
I think that's one of the things that we've been trying to do, and it's the students. Just like it's the best days for them is when they've got someone in who's kind of everyone's got something different to show and different stories to
different
tell,
strengths
and it
and
just gives them confidence as well. I think.
and so being like, no, you can actually make this your career. Like you can do it.
Yeah, I
We
think
love
there's a
you
lot
for
of
it.
that. 'Cause
Yeah.
it seems an impossible task
Yeah.
until they meet people in it.
Yeah.
So what was your route or pathway into the arts industries, and how did you get to where you are now?
So one of our guest teachers actually at college worked a lot at a workshop in Sydney called Makeup Effects Group, or MEG. And so she took a couple of us, they were working on their own project called Mary Doe. And so she took us in, like organized us to go into the workshop with MEG and just do some kind of work experience stuff. And I think maybe 10 of us started going at the start, and then maybe 2 or 3 of us kind of just kept going. About 2 of us kind of kept going, and we just hung around and really just annoyed them until for a little while learned a whole bunch, and just showed our dedication, just kept going, and we'd go in after school and on weekends, and
Basically, by turning up and never leaving, you.
pretty much. I was like, I'm part of the furniture now, please just don't kick me out, please, I love you.
And was there any particular break? I mean, you mentioned The Hobbit. Which
Yeah, so by going into the workshop for a couple, maybe a year or 2, they then got a big film called I, Frankenstein, and I'd obviously been hanging around a lot, so they got me involved in the workshop area of it as a workshop junior. So I started on, that was my kind of first big film, and then I got to go to set. I really pushed hard to try and get to go to set. I moved myself down to Melbourne so that I could work on set, which was kind of definitely the area that I wanted to go into. And then, so we did that shoot, so I at least had a big film under my belt. And it's always hard getting that first big film. But then from that first big film, the same workshop and effects group and same straight makeup team went, their next film together was Wolverine. So I then got to moved back up to Sydney, worked in the workshop and on set for Wolverine, because they knew me by then, they knew, how I work and that I do work a lot of the times. The stressful thing hiring a trainee is you don't know what they're going to be like and how they're going to deal with it. So obviously, I'd proven myself and I'd done my thing, so I got to go on Wolverine, and then from being able to say I'd done my Frankenstein and Wolverine, you then get other jobs, and then I got on Hobbit, which a bunch of my friends had worked on the main lot of production, and then just kind of slowly tried to do more. And I've done in between all those jobs, I was doing other smaller jobs.
So coming over here, you've been on Game of Thrones, and how did you get a job over here? Because it's quite a long way away, isn't it?
It is quite hard moving to a new country. It's very hard because you're starting again almost from the bottom. But
with a good CV.
With
I suppose that makes a
yeah,
massive
which
difference.
makes a huge difference. So
Yeah.
I actually did. One of my friends got me in a job with Mark Coulier, and then from having worked with Mark Coulier, then I saw Christian was looking for a female prosthetics artist for a pregnancy belly makeup, and so I contacted Christian and said, I've worked for Mark, and then it's kind of getting that first job of, well, if she's worked for Mark, then she must be, if Mark had her, she must be alright. And then I worked for Christian, and then when I went to go on Game of Thrones, I said, well, I've worked for both Mark and Christian, and that kind of helped, and now I can say,
Yeah.
it's
So it starts to open its own doors.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you can just kind of show that you can do what you say you can do, then.
I think Woody Allen said once like that 90% of success is turning up.
Oh yeah, totally.
And it's, that sort of
Yeah.
seems to be the case. In
Yeah,
life, doesn't it?
like you just sending emails and
Yeah.
just actually putting the effort in. It's never gonna fall in your lap. You've really got to
No.
really work to get work.
So what would be your advice to young artists graduating from colleges that hope to make a living from their particular arts practice?
That it is possible. That's the biggest one. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Your mom might say, your parents might be like, you should get a real job. You should get a real job. This is a real job. But you can actually make it a career. Like, it is a viable possibility.
Like you say, you've got to work hard and work
But
at
you've
it,
got to
so-
work very hard for it. You've got to show up on time and do what you're told, and respect how everything's
Protocols
going
and
and
stuff,
protocols,
yeah.
and learn on set etiquette, and so much of it. Yes, it's being a good artist, but especially at the beginning, it's
I think it's
your
also being a nice
personality.
person, isn't
Yeah,
it? That's
you
a
know.
big part of it. And I remember several other people have, like
Yeah,
Christian has
just-
said to me, you won't hire anyone unless they're really nice.
yeah. If you're not,
He doesn't want them
and-
around because it just
Yeah.
makes a bad atmosphere.
it
or
does. Like,
difficult.
always being positive is probably one of
Yeah.
the number one things that's important, because as I was saying in the second years earlier today, like, everyone's cold, everyone's wet, everyone's tired, everyone's stressed, but don't be the person to say it, because, everyone's in the same boat, you're not the only person who's got up at 2:00 this morning,
Yeah,
we're all tired, but it's, it's better than working in an office, or it's better than cleaning toilets. You're still working on a film set, and
Yeah.
you're doing
absolutely.
what you've worked really hard to do. Why complain when you're there?
No, absolutely. So what's the best thing about your job, do you think?
The variety. Like, you can go one day from doing the crazy, like, just, I've gone some amazing places. Like, I've been in forests all over the world, like, beautiful locations. Some really dodgy ones, but they have their own beauty in their own kind of strange way as well. And the people are just, actually, it's probably like the variety and the people. The people are just amazing. You've got to be a certain type of person to be a creative and to make it in this industry, so.
It is just like, noticed myself, like the industry's full of, there's lots of people, and the people who do well in it are actually the really nice people.
Yeah,
who are
everyone's really nice,
friendly and really
because
open, so
you don't get far by being mean, because no one wants to work with someone who's mean.
the more attitude and the more ego you've got, the less approachable you are, and
Yeah.
it seems to just close doors for you straight
Yeah.
away from what I
Yeah.
can make
It's
of it.
just like you don't lose, what's the saying? Like, you don't lose any light by lighting someone else's candle or something.
It's
Something like
very
that.
good saying.
Your light doesn't dim when you light someone else's candle, and
No, that's true. Yeah, share it out.
Yeah.
Share it out.
and being nice doesn't cost anything. It's not any more effort.
No.
Just don't be a dick. Please cut that bit out. Don't be a cock.
So what's the worst thing about your job, would you say?
2 a.m. call times.
It's the same thing that everyone else has said. It's like hours and.
Oh yeah, the
and
hours are really rough. You do massive hours, and it's hard. Like,